This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It just makes sense.
We are sports. We are nostalgia. We are pop culture. And we're funny sometimes.
I think overall we're just a good time.
They thought we couldn't do it. But guess what?
We're back.
Podcasts are free, and we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
We never knew what we were doing in the first place.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Shanahan got out-coached by Andy Reid. You could blame it on the Chiefs all you want, but that overtime rule was created against the Chiefs. The Chiefs used it to their advantage to be prepared for it.
They didn't know. They were learning about it on the field.
But that's on the
at the jump.
That's on the coaching staff.
100%.
Are you a 49er fan? Fuck you.
I'm kidding. We want this shit.
Are you a 49er fan? Fuck you.
The whole bit. It's the whole bit.
Great bet.
It's a good bit.
And who are we
Speaking of
to
losing,
call people out on losing bets, okay? We suck at betting.
And remember, don't be afraid to fade yourself.
I did it again, so I'm a... Oh my God. So...
Are you familiar with... Is it Sao Paulo, Philippines?
That's in Brazil. Sao Paulo's in Brazil.
Sao Paulo, Brazil. Ever heard?
San Pablo.
San Pablo?
San Schmablo.
Yeah. Never been there. I don't think it is. Why?
My aunt and uncle are going on a mission there.
They in the province.
The province?
Yeah, they're not. They're outside of the city. I saw your mom post about
what?
being in the Philippines. They were in Puerto Ligera. She posted like a 10-year-old photo with Jay, just like this. He goes, "It's too much food. You guys serve too much food." Did they go on a mission there, or did they live there?
No, when they lived in China, they went on a lot of vacations around Asia.
That was one of the few beaches I've been to in the Philippines before I left, was where they were at.
Yeah.
How much influence do you have over where you go? Zero?
On a
mission, yeah.
You don't... I know when you go when you're young, you have no influence.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're older, I know that you can like make suggestions.
Do they give you a heads up to possibly like learn the language or something?
They teach you. So you go to what's called the MTC, Missionary Training Center.
The MTC.
Oh, then that I would want to choose, because I'd be like, oh, this is a language I want to learn. Like, send me to Japan or something. That'd be cool.
No, because there would be a lot of people that want to go to like different countries, so they don't let the younger people choose. But there's a lot of guys that I knew that were like, oh, I want to go to Japan, or I want to go to wherever, and it's like they went to Boise, Idaho.
And what are you judged against? Do you have like a conversion rate?
What?
Like, honestly, like, I mean, like, when you're there.
Oh.
When
like,
you're
what is
there.
your goal?
Yeah, like, I mean,
What's
like,
the quota?
obviously it is. Is there a quota? Yeah. Is there
I'm sure
a
they
success?
use different terminology. But yeah, they're it's not like you get like fired or demoted like you're doing this for free. But yeah, they have, goals that they want you to meet of how many people you get baptized and things like that. But some missions, like I know missions in Brazil, there's like an incredibly high baptism rate. So people are getting baptized all the time. Whereas other countries, it's like if you get 3 baptisms in the 2 years that you're there, it's a good one.
So the whole point of the mission is to convert people to Mormonism.
Yeah.
Because
you're just printing Mormons down there. But
what is the advantage? Like, why do you want such a huge squad?
Why do you want more Mormons?
Yeah.
Because they give a lot of money.
Yeah.
Money?
Well, the more Mormons, more people paying tithing is a big part of it, I'm sure.
Did they introduce that during the door knocking?
I would-
Hey, if I have to pay something,
I would imagine then greater influence in things like within government or different sectors of the world that influence more of your beliefs.
And more people go into the celestial kingdom, my dude.
CK.
Yeah.
Shocker. Or whatever.
You can't forget about that, dude.
Yeah.
Eternal glory.
The celestial kingdom, bro.
Can't forget about that.
Oh, my John Smith. Joseph Smith.
I follow this account on Instagram that, like, it's ex-Mormons telling, like, horror stories from their time in the religion. It's shocking.
Like shocking to you?
Yeah. Even
Like
to me.
shit that you've never heard of?
Yeah. Well, it's shocking in general. Like, there was this woman who was like, you know, who went to her bishop and, like, because, you know, when you do bad things, you have to go to your bishop and confess, ask for repentance, and usually he'll give you some kind of, you know, punishment where you can't take the sacrament or you can't, you know, go to the temple or whatever. And she had done, you know, sexual things with her boyfriend. She was, like, in high school, college, and he basically was like, you know, put my hand on your body where you let him touch you. And, like, what? Yeah. And was like,
Yeah.
And he was like, the
Yeah.
reason I made you do that is so you could, you know, feel, you know, the necessary discomfort or something like that. Yeah.
She's like, but it felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not cool.
Maybe we've talked about it on the pod where there's that train going along around at the BYU campus where it's like $5 million or 5 minutes with Joseph Smith. And people are like, 5 minutes with Joseph Smith. It's like, you're a dumbass.
Because all Mormons are rich.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, if you did do the $5 million, you go, and then I could tithe, and then I could recruit others, and blah, blah, blah. So what are you going to accomplish in 5 minutes?
The crazier one was...
I can accomplish a lot.
The crazier one was kill someone or have sex. Or
Oh,
kill a
shoot.
puppy or have
Right,
sex. And they're like,
yeah.
I'd kill a puppy. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you goddamn
Children
kidding me?
burning in a bus.
Like,
Or
you would
sexual
kill a puppy
intercourse.
over having sex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the bishop they're about to face, I
And
get
those
it.
those guys are just definitely the freakiest people. They have to be.
Yeah.
They
I don't know.
have
There's
to
some
be.
hardcore Christians, they're Catholics that were really repressed in their early years, and they got out of that shell and then just everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, happy Valentine's Day, boys.
Hey, thanks.
Big Valentine's Day celebration here.
Yeah.
Are you guys big into the flowers? Do you actually buy into the corporate stuff?
I've
do
done
the
it.
flowers just because you have to.
I've done it. I don't feel like I have to. Ashley doesn't really like flowers. She likes it for the smell of the house
Right.
and the look, but she doesn't.
Other than the peonies or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I find other things that I feel like she would appreciate more than just flowers that'll die in a week.
Yeah, I usually do flowers.
This one snuck up on me. It's like legit like tomorrow, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. We'll figure it out.
Just go to Trader Joe's. They have great flowers.
They do. The flowers in the house that we have right now are actually TJ's flowers.
And plant some orange chicken around it, around the stems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are continuing our tradition of crab cakes tomorrow, so very excited for the crabby cakes. But you could get...
Oh my God.
Normally, these are always setups, which this one is. I saw a TikTok earlier today that made me giggle that had to do with a woman and flowers. This one's not a flower so much as a dried plant, but the tagline is, when the earthy girl dates the frat boy. All right, here we go.
Guys, I found some eucalyptus at the store for $2.
Eucalyptus dude. Eucalyptus dude.
There you go. So that's what you could do, is you could get your gal $2 eucalyptus, and then she'd go, oh my God, that's great. And then you can say eucalyptus dick.
I'll skip it.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
That's
week number 4 of dealing with bronchitis. There you go.
Sure, it's not appendicitis.
Yeah, I am just all over the place when it comes to fake disease.
You might want to get better because we're about a month away from something coming down.
What's coming down?
Everything that's happening right now is mirroring 2020. I'm not trying to speak it into existence, but Chiefs beat the Niners in 2020. Election is happening with Biden versus Trump. We got shut down in March.
I saw this, that there were like a ton of correlations
and
put money on the Heat to make the finals.
Sure.
The Heat to make the finals. There's the first thing I saw was there is a bubonic plague.
Yeah,
there was
Oregon.
A confirmed one in Oregon. Yeah,
that could
from
be
a cat.
Yeah,
from a cat.
Yep.
And then I saw this thing. I have no idea what it is, but there was like the first confirmed case of the Alaska pox. What the hell is Alaska pox?
Get ready for
sounds chilly.
Time alone in our house for another 6 months.
Yeah, but like this one, we haven't really heard about it yet. Like we had heard about a coronavirus or whatever. We're just like, oh, it's never gonna get to us, and then, it was actively flowing through our systems.
I kind of forgot that it started as coronavirus.
Right. Yeah.
Got the Rona.
Then it evolved into China virus because we had a very colorful president. And then COVID-19.
Would you be opposed to another shutdown?
No, we've talked about it. I would love it.
Okay with it. As long as no one dies.
Well, people are going to die.
As long as nobody we know dies.
Yeah, just...
Okay. Yeah.
You know what? Never mind. That's more. But I was going to say the olds could die off so we could buy houses again.
Facts.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I read that article, and it's so true that all these people, the baby boomers who bought houses in the early 1990s when were children, they bought these houses, and they've been in them for the last 25 years, and they can't sell them because of the frickin' capital gains tax that would tax them like 40% of the money that they would have earned off of that. And then so now they're just going to die in those houses. So they're sitting on them. I've been on 2 houses in the past couple of months in Lake Oswego. Both of them were from people who had died. They were owned by an estate.
Ghost house.
So, I know. I'll buy a ghost house.
With a ghost car outside.
But anyways, that's my soapbox here. When we're here, we're talking about eucalyptus dick.
It's really not that funny. I'm sorry.
It's pretty funny. Because
that's a bad side of TikTok.
Because he repeated it, which is what's even funnier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will buy $2 eucalyptus. I got myself a nice 4K television for the Super Bowl. It was very exciting. The Super Bowl. We finally needed a new one because of the discoloration of the burn-in that my child had put in by watching Daniel Tiger and PBS Kids and all this other stuff. So I go there, and I get like another 55-inch TV. And Lindsay kind of goes, this was her comment. She said, is it just now that like every time you get a TV, it's kind of like a new iPhone? It's just like not really exciting. It's just kind of new. And at that point, I knew I fucked up because I didn't get like a good enough TV to like make my wife happy. And I thought that like the 65-inch TV was going to be like way too big for that space. But then I remeasured. I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try.
We really got to see Blake Lively's smooth skin.
We sure did. So, and also the one thing I reminded my wife is that we bought that TV. It was like a $2,100 TV when I bought it. So it was a really nice TV back then. We got good run out of it. So we've always had a really nice TV. So yes, naturally. But then again, I got a 10-inch TV that was, or a TV that was 10 inches bigger than before and costs $800 less. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, TVs are cheap nowadays.
They're a lot cheaper. Get yourself one. LG, hook it up.
Yeah, there's some phones that are more expensive than fucking TVs.
Honestly.
And you get phones, not me, but people get new phones every 2 years. TVs you have to replace what? least 5, 6, if not longer.
Yeah, ours was like 5 years. That felt right.
Miguel and I have literally the exact same TV.
Do you really?
Same size.
I have a
same brand.
65-inch TV. And
mine's 75.
Oh,
yeah. I have 65.
dick swinging contest.
I bought it from a coworker for $200.
I bought it from a coworker for $200. I'm not even kidding.
Spider-Man?
And I've had it for
Spider-Man?
7 years.
When did I work at
He had
Zones?
my Ghost TV before then.
When did I work at Zones?
Yeah, I've only gone through 2 TVs in 9 years.
Yeah, I know. That's wild.
But the first one was from you, which you got a lot of use out of.
I did, yeah.
So I got 3 years.
It was a
out of
plasma TV. It was my first ever big purchase. I bought it for $1,500.
It was fucking heavy.
It was
That
90
TV was
pounds.
so heavy.
It was incredible.
Yeah, I
so
remember.
heavy.
I remember when I was pretty proud of myself. I bought a 32-inch flat screen TV, and I remember I had my girlfriend at the time, Heather. I was holding it in the parking lot, and she took a picture of me.
Yeah, and an LCD TV. Is that what
Yes,
you did?
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Love that.
Back in
DVD player in it too, or no? No built-in
No.
DVD player.
back in college, one of my roommates had a dog, so we left after the first year. We decided we were going to rent a house. We found someone stupid enough to let us rent a house, 3 guys in Tempe, and we rented the house for like $1,200 a month.
Did they even do like a background check? Or they're just like, you know what? Just don't fuck
The
me.
guy's name was Chip. I don't think he did a background check at all.
Just please pay me. Don't fuck me over.
But
Don't make me foreclose.
There
on
are a
my
lot of
house.
things about a house that none of us knew as college students. We didn't know that what we were paying for utilities were going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Like running heat and AC in the house were going to be like $300 monthly. But we
Right.
wanted a yard for the dog. We moved into an unfurnished house to rent for the following year at school. And our first stop was Best Buy to get, what do you call the TV that sits on the ground? Like a big box.
Yeah, like an
Yeah.
entertainment center.
Like a
or
45, 50-inch big box TV. That was our first purchase.
Oh, a TV, like a projection TV or something like that?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a projector, but a projection
Like
TV.
heavy-ass fucking
Yeah.
TV. We had that, an Xbox 360, and then a couch that we got on Craigslist for free that was covered in fucking crickets.
Beautiful.
And right after we bought the TV, we went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and we were this close to making another dumb financial decision of taking a Dick's Sporting Goods credit card to buy a fucking $1,500 hoop to put in the house that we're renting.
Would have been worth it.
We got evicted.
Yeah, did you actually?
Yeah.
Oh,
And we're like,
so you did
we're,
fuck him
we're like,
over.
how do we, so what do we do with the TV? He split it 3 ways. And I'm like, just take me out of it. I don't want anything to
I'm
do
not.
with
I
it.
won't watch the TV. So wait, how many months did you screw him over? That? How did you get evicted? Because you didn't pay, or because you just trashed the house?
Well, we didn't trash the house. Kind of.
You bought a cricket couch. Of course, you trashed the house.
Yeah, and then we ended up washing that outside.
You washed it.
Yeah.
And then
Hosed it
you
down?
brought
We
it
just
back
hosed
in.
it down.
And then you brought it back in.
Well, the way we
And then
found
got
out
maggots?
about the way we found out about the crickets wasn't just looking. The first night we had a party, a buddy of ours stayed the night and slept on the couch, and he kicked my door in my room, and he goes, "Look at me," and he was covered in bug bites up and down both legs. So that's when we washed it. But no, we got evicted not because we trashed it. We didn't pay for like 4 months, and he was very lenient and flexible, and he's like, "You guys just got to get the fuck out after like the 5th month."
That makes sense. And you should have told your buddy that like those bug bites were probably like the least of his worries going to ASU. The amount of like weird sores and bites and things that popped up probably on his body over the course of being at ASU.
That's the house where I
Talking about STDs.
Yes,
I'm
aware. Also saw my first scorpion. I'd never seen a scorpion.
In
You don't
your
see them
house?
in the Northwest. Yeah, we saw them all the time.
Damn.
Did you eat it?
No, I was fucking terrified of scorpions, man.
Yeah, they got to be dead. They got to be in somewhere in liquor or
I've eaten
Or,
a scorpion.
live.
No.
Oh, okay.
Cooked.
Cooked.
I think it was fried. It was crunchy.
Crunchy. Yeah, I would think it would be.
I tried that.
Yeah, it was very spicy too.
We also We also, for a few months, didn't cut our grass because we don't have a lawnmower.
Right.
So we got a letter from the city, which was like,
you got to
cut it in a
complain or
week or
something.
you have an $80 fine. So we borrowed a lawnmower from the neighbor.
Broke it.
Yeah. And we ended up paying the city anyway. And there was just one patch that was cut.
Yeah. You probably would have been better just getting scissors or hiring a goat.
Arizona was good times.
Hire a goat next time.
Hire a goat next time. People do that
We
in
can't
Portland.
afford a
They
lawnmower,
need
but we
work.
got a goat.
Yeah.
They need work.
They do. Yeah. Don't put goats out of business. They have equal rights. Equal rights. Well, what was not crunchy but equally probably more delicious was the brisket that you made this past weekend, Braxton, for El Super Bowl. A 17-pound brisket, the biggest one you've ever done.
Yeah.
With a wonderful sauce. I am anti-sauce usually, but I loved your sauce.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think it was a good test run for the old pop-up, and hopefully next one just gets better.
Were you stressed out? I've always thought that briskets are the most stressful thing. From like start to finish, from the trim process to making sure that it gets past that 150 degree, crutch or whatever it's called, and then you have to cut it, and then you have to cut it correctly, and then you're always looking, and then you're second guessing yourself. It's very stressful for me.
You had all the right tools though.
Yeah.
You even had the brisket slicing knife.
You did,
like the long one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you weren't shredding it.
Yeah, no, I think I put in enough preparation that it made it pretty easy for me. It wasn't necessarily easy staying up through most of the night, but it wasn't like stressful.
If you practice well Monday through Saturday, it's the game is easy on Sunday. How about
That's
that?
right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So great brisky.
Imagine if you had a stick smoker, you wouldn't sleep.
Yeah, an offset, I wouldn't.
Are you planning on going to a different smoker anytime soon? Do you want to do that, or are you fine with a pellet one?
If I were to switch, I'd just get a bigger pellet grill.
You would?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be, what's his face, Franklin.
Franklin, sure.
I think that the pellet smoker does the job.
It regulates the temperature.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more simple, and it creates just as good of a product as an offset does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't get that's just like a unnecessary dick swinging thing for the people that are like purist or old school. It's like, oh, I want to do a stick burner and offset smoker. Yeah, if you're doing competition, no one has time for that shit.
What about that one at Mitchell's bachelor party? That big boy. If someone gave you that, you would take that?
Yeah, if somebody gave me one, then I would absolutely take it.
That thing was like 4,000 pounds.
The other thing is I would use it 25% of the time that I use the pellet smoker, the Traeger.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Just because it's the work, you have to acquire the wood, not only wood, the right wood for whatever you're smoking. And
it becomes less about the meat, and you're watching fire. And that's where you can't move away from it. Like, you just stay out there.
Yeah, you just have to be.
Yeah, like I said, I would use it probably a quarter of the time, and I don't want to do that. I love smoked meats. I love the convenience and ease of the Traeger. Like I said, if I was ever to get another smoker, it would just be a bigger pellet smoker.
And Braxton's going to have a barbecue pop-up coming up here at Jimmy's here in the next few months, hopefully.
Maybe the guy from Germany will come out.
Tune in.
I hope so. Come on down, buddy. Free plate on me.
Well, before we get into the Super Bowl itself, I wanted to pick your guys' brains, one, on the commercials, and two, on the halftime show. Well, I mean, like this, I didn't necessarily feel like this year, like, really a ton of commercials stood out. I think the M&M's one, where they were talking about like the almost success one. Maybe I was wrong.
So many more
Was
commercials that were so much better.
Okay, I like the Dunkin' Donuts
The Christopher Walken one was number one.
You like
for me. That was fucking
walking
hilarious.
like walking or talking like walking.
The Dunkin' Kings, Dunk Kings with Tom Brady and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck was really funny.
Yeah. All right, well, fuck me.
I kind of agree with what you said, Pete, but at the same time, I didn't watch all of the commercials. Like, I didn't see the walk-in one.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. But I thought the dunking one was pretty good.
And they're capitalizing off it, too. They're selling the merch and all that. It's good.
Yeah.
And then they release an extended cut today. It's like a 5-minute long commercial, apparently.
There are also a lot of commercials that didn't make it.
That's true.
Kanye paid for a spot, and he did. It's almost like let me show you how much money I got, and I'll pay $7 million for a 30-second spot and not put any thought into the production, and he just filmed it from his phone.
Oh, cool. And did it make it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it was only in certain areas, I guess.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there was one other one that I thought was pretty good. Oh yeah, all the Jesus ones.
How about them? How about the amount of times that we saw the same Temu commercial? That thing, like, I think they paid $30 million for just that one commercial to air like 3 or 4 times.
I saw something that Temu just took
Shop like a
people's
billionaire.
credit cards and just used it to pay for the fucking spot.
Shop like a billionaire, and it's just like you're selling a tablecloth for 99 cents. I don't think that's how that works.
What a time to have a commercial in the Super Bowl too. This was apparently the most viewed, Super Bowl, but the most viewed like television event outside of landing on the moon.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
It was like landing on the moon was like 125 to 130 million. This was at 123.
Yeah, 123.4. Like pretty wild. All to see Taylor Swift on the screen for 54 seconds. One more thing before we get into the game. There was a debate going on. There's a debate going on the internets about Usher, and not necessarily about like how good the show was or anything like that, because I think that we could all agree that it was pretty good. I liked it. It got me
top 5.
Got me hyped.
It's pretty good.
Got me bobbing my head, moving my hips like yeah. But whether or not Usher belongs to the Millennials or Usher belongs to the Gen Xers. And what I mean by that, I know that he's 45 years old. It's not about his age, but it's about who can kind of claim him for their generation.
Millennials, hands down.
Apparently, Gen Xers very much disagree. I know that we all here are millennials.
Okay, then take a Gen Xer and have him name 10 Usher songs, put him next to a millennial, and have him name 10 Usher songs, and who would win? Millennials would win 9 out of 10.
I mean, I think you can just look at his, what do they call it?
Discography or his Rolodex of songs.
Yeah, and most of them came out in millennial times.
His biggest albums were my high school and post-high school years.
Yeah,
Confessions.
Really?
Yeah. What is it? My Way and
Nice
and
Slow.
Slow came out in early 2000s. I was in high school.
Yeah.
And then you have Confessions, and then you don't have to call and all that. That's around like high school, post-high school, college.
Yeah, because I was looking it up. He was big in the 90s. He was bigger in the early 2000s. So I would think that the millennials, we have no one as a dissenting opinion here. So 3-0. Screw you, Gen Xers. That's what we got to say there. So
what's Gen X? So Gen X would be like
right
older
before,
brothers, older sisters.
Yeah, the cutoff's kind of right around like 84, 85, or like 83, 84. So depending on elder Gen Xers versus.
Yeah, I don't think Usher's even an argument. I would say like someone like Boyz II Men might be more of a, is it Gen X, is it millennial?
Right, like I would give Dr. Dre to Gen X. Wouldn't you?
Early 90s.
Yeah. I mean, like, they were definitely producing stuff in the late 80s when we were just being born. Yeah. So I'll give them that.
NWA was 80.
We get Usher.
86, yeah.
Next year, the favorite for the halftime show, Lil Wayne.
It's got to be Wheezy
the
F.
pride
that
of
would be a great. Because
you
he'll bring out Drake, hopefully, Nicki Minaj, all the Young Money folk.
Yeah.
That would be great.
There was debate as to why Usher did not bring out Justin Bieber, and now he is supposedly a favorite also to do a Super Bowl. So it's just like, why would he make an appearance if he could actually just be the headliner?
Yeah, and I saw somewhere that Usher reached out to him, and he just was like, no, I'm not feeling it.
Just not feeling it, dog.
I don't know. I'm not anti-Bieber. I don't think he belongs on that stage.
Yeah.
Not with with everyone that he brought out. I don't think Bieber mixes in with how the show
Right,
was.
yeah. I think that the way that the show would have gone, it was like, wait, that was cool. And I know that he did a song with Bieber, but like, it would have felt like maybe a little disjointed. Especially because Bieber was like 12 when he did that song.
Yeah, if you're
with
pandering
Usher.
to Gen X and Millennials, you're bringing out Justin Bieber to do a song that probably is way later than what the two groups would know.
Yeah, I mean,
Bieber is definitely millennial, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Late
millennial.
Very late.
Yeah. I mean,
Am I a late millennial?
I would say that you're later. I wouldn't say that you're the end of it.
Because the end is what, 99?
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, 93.
Okay. Yeah, so either way. But yeah, Lil Wayne, the favorite there. Dua Lipa also one of those too. So.
They like to pander to the hometown, so you would think that he...
Sure, yeah, they did with
should
LA.
be him.
And, yeah, they did with LA with Dr. Dre and those guys. And then, yeah.
Nolans, that's going to be a wild Super
next
Bowl
year.
for the Chiefs' third one.
People are going to be fucked up.
Woo! And it's going to be right there around Mardi Gras.
And we're going to be in Mexico.
And we're going to be in Mexico.
You think
That's right.
when we watch a Super Bowl, it'll be in English?
Probably. Yeah, I think so. That would be...
I don't care.
I'd almost love it if it was.
You don't want to hear Mrs. Officer in Spanish?
I'd almost love it if it wasn't. Well, why don't you just take me right into the perfect thing?
Policia.
The Chiefs.
Senora Policia.
Chiefs once again, national champion.
Hey, remember when you said the Chiefs were not going to make the playoffs?
Hey, it felt good at the time. I mean,
technically, they're world champions.
World champions.
That whole debate has been the funniest thing to me leading up to the Super Bowl. Not like halftime show or anything like that. It was why does the NFL call you world champs and people like ignorant fucking Americans are going, well, Super Bowl is the most watched sporting event, and then they show the map of the world and it's like Super Bowl viewers and revenue. And then World Cup.
Yeah.
It's like 100 million, 4 billion.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, this is a U.S. thing. Like, no one outside of the U.S. gives a shit about the Super Bowl.
Well, they're trying to make them care. I guess the Eagles are going to be opening their season down in Brazil. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, they've been focused on, Germany, London. Hasn't been a lot of
Mexico.
No South America.
Yeah, it'll be the first time. But you said whether or not it would be in Spanish or not. Maybe we could just dial up the Korean call. Chiefs world champions. Here's a Korean call.
갑니다. 해트릭 마운스.
Feels perverts trying to get a feel of Taylor Swift's skin.
어쩌면 우리는 역사상 최고의 선수와 NFL 역사상 최고의 팀을 목격했는지도 모르겠습니다.
Electric.
Very electric. The one that caught my attention was not the Chiefs call, but I loved the 49ers call because I am a sick human being. But there was just like...
It's not about the game. It's about the calls.
It's about the calls. Here is the 49ers call. There's just one word to summarize it after the win.
7 seconds, 6. They are going to snap it. Mahomes going to roll to his right, throws, touchdown. The Chiefs have won the Super Bowl. Nicole Hardman. As they roll Mahomes right, Nicole Hardman is wide open. And the Chiefs win the Super Bowl back-to-back years. Another
Al Michaels?
heartbreaking loss for
No,
Kyle
it's Greg
Shanahan.
Dang it. Dang it.
That's all you can say. We're really, you just want to be like, fuck!
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah. Dang it!
Well, how did you guys...
Heartbreaking loss for Kyle Shanahan.
Dang it!
There you go. Sorry, Braxton. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, how did you guys feel about the Super Bowl in general?
I think it confirmed everything I've been saying all year.
The guy's never wrong.
It just made my ego bigger about the Chiefs.
Always saying a victory
like in all
lap.
seriousness, everything that we've talked about with Kansas City and the little things that we pointed out. We always say, and this kind of goes back to like when the Niners were the favorites. And remember with the Lions being in the topic of conversation. You were like, well, Shanahan is the smart, intelligent X's and O's guy. And Dan Campbell is the rah-rah, character, heart, all this shit. Shanahan got fucking out-coached by Andy Reid. And it goes as to the smallest detail of not knowing the overtime rules. Everyone was screaming at the TV, not just us. Everyone was screaming at the TV about why Kansas City isn't calling a timeout. But because they knew the fucking rules. It was just going to another quarter. There was no rush. They got the first down when Kelce caught the ball. The clock was running. And you're like, we can just run another play. There's no rush. Overtime wasn't over. And I thought it exposed Mr. Kyle Shanahan.
It definitely was crazy
it.
because, like, they're having to walk it back today where, I mean, there were players like Eric Armstead said it, Kyle Juszczyk said it, a bunch of guys post-game thought, like, we score a touchdown, we win. Not in the Super Bowl, not in the playoffs. It's very different.
Yeah.
They didn't know. They were learning about it on the field.
But that's on the,
at the jump.
that's on the coaching staff.
100%.
Because the Chiefs practiced it.
Meanwhile, they were talking about what the scenario was all the way back in training camp for this. They were ready for this moment back in training camp.
Like, you could, if you're a Niners, if you're bang, bang, Niner gang, and if you're all that shit, you could blame it on the Chiefs all you want. But that overtime rule was created against the Chiefs because of the Bills-Chiefs thing. So it was created against them, and the Chiefs used it to their advantage by studying it to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing about the Super Bowl that told me there was a script. There's nothing. There was no unlike the Philly Chiefs game with that pass interference was kind of bullshit. There's nothing about this where the Chiefs got the upper hand on calls or anything else. If anything, they fucked up a lot.
I feel like it was a very low penalized game.
Yeah. I think this is the third Super Bowl where the Chiefs were not called for offensive holding, which is pretty wild to think. And that was called out.
Let the boys play. You know?
Yeah, and I think to your point when you talk about the scripted side of things, like I could leave the first half of that Super Bowl just all day. You know, like you start the game and Christian McCaffrey fumbles it, and then Isaiah Pacheco fumbles it, and then you're getting penalties, and it was just kind of clunky for that first half.
The only cool part of the first half was the Juwan Jennings touchdown throw.
Yeah, absolutely. Which seemed incredibly impressive. It looked like it was going to get picked off, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, but he's going to get stopped for a 5-yard loss. And then all of a sudden, daylight, he's in for the score. It was wild.
The ball was in the air for what seemed like so long.
It was not a very well thrown ball.
But I agree with you. I mean, the end product of the Super Bowl, it was a good Super Bowl, but the first 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters, was kind of like yawn.
Yeah, when Jim Nantz said this is the lowest scoring Super Bowl since the Patriots and Rams or whatever, we're like, well, we know how that Super Bowl was. That one sucked.
Yeah.
You know?
I think everyone wants it to be a shootout. The only thing really that we could see, like there's nothing about the game where I was sitting there and going, oh, they want the Chiefs to win. They want the Chiefs to win. The only thing you knew is if you give Mahomes the ball back, you might be fucked.
Yeah.
Because they'll find a way. I think the game itself on Sunday exposed a lot of things. I think it exposed that this entire season, the Niners defense were being talked about like gods, the Chiefs' defense were better.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Greenlaw got hurt in a freak accident, and he's a massive part of that defense.
Right. And then the guy who backed him up, Oren Burks, ended up having like one of the worst PFF ratings out there. 9 targets, 9 catches, a touchdown against him.
You
Terrible.
can't replace a Greenlaw, like Fred Warner, Armstead, none of those guys. Like they're too important to that team. But it exposed that how much better the Chiefs' defense were. I think I saw a stat that throughout the playoffs that they shut down every wide receiver one on the way to the Super Bowl, including Ayuk and Debo, with like 30 yards each or something like that. It exposed how much better Kelce is than Kittle. I mean, Kelce got 8 receptions for like 93 yards.
Nine,
he didn't have a
for
touchdown.
93, yeah. In the first half, it was like 1 target or 1 catch for a yard. And so, again, it goes back to that first half where you just go like, this wasn't a cat and mouse game in the first half. It was just clunky.
It was a clunky defensive showdown.
But we said last week the Niners were not going to be able to throw against the Chiefs. So they were going to ride McCaffrey hard, and they fucking did.
Yeah.
I mean, he was... 60% of the offense? He had like 80 yards receiving, 90 yards rushing or something like that.
This is the second Super Bowl in a row, in both Super Bowls, where we have been talking about how Andy Reid and the Chiefs outcoached their opponent. The hold with the colors of the gloves, right, this time. And then on this side, where today Kyle Shanahan was talking about how, he was blaming analytics. You'll love that. And he was saying we were playing for the third score because he's claiming he knew the back and forth and all that other stuff. But the Chiefs, to their credit, were like, we weren't going to let them have the third score. If they scored a touchdown, we were going to go score a touchdown, go for 2.
Go for 2.
We were not going to give you the option to get that ball back. Yeah. We were going to take, and that's the thing, you take the control there, control into your own hands, and they were going to win that regardless. So they got a lot of flack for taking the ball. Yeah. And at that point,
for 2 decades, we've always said, as long as Brady's on the field and Belichick is the coach, you don't ever count them out. As long as Andy Reid is the coach and as long as Mahomes is the quarterback, I will not bet against them. They're just too smart. They're too experienced, and they're too fucking good. They're too creative.
Yeah. That's why Aaron Rodgers didn't want you to kick the field goal when he was with the Packers and to give the ball back to Tom Brady. Yeah,
they have enough pieces. And, I mean, who's to say they can't go 3-peat? They're looking at wide receivers that, like, T. Higgins, Mike Evans are some of the top receivers that could go to the Chiefs.
Not only that, but
come on.
It's wild how they have built their roster with their younger impact players, and albeit like this was a very different situation of how we were interpreting these younger guys earlier in the season, but it took a while for them to evolve and such. But like when you look at like some of their biggest contributors, Pacheco and Rice and who else am I thinking of? Hardman as well, Watson, right?
Justin Watson.
All of these guys are making under $2 million.
Yeah.
It's wild. And
Pacheco is the only running back, the only starting running back for a team with 2 Super Bowls. And a list of like...
He's making $900,000.
A list of like 40 running backs to ever play in the league. That's pretty fucking crazy.
So the way that they are constructed, I mean, it's pretty wild how they've done it in the face of having, a guy on... your quarterback is making $52 million. So,
it's like the opposite of New England, where like Brady didn't want to take that much money, so they were able to get a lot of pieces around him. But in this one, it's like Mahomes has all the money, but they spread whatever's left to get those little guys.
Yeah. In 58 Super Bowls, there have been 7 double-digit comebacks for wins. 3 of those belong to Patrick Mahomes.
And it's like I said last week. We were talking about, what do you think the Super Bowl is going to be like? And I'm almost positive I said, I think it's going to be similar to last year. Chiefs are going to be down by, a score or 10 points, and they're going to come back, do something crazy at the end, and win.
Yeah. And Patrick Mahomes you trust.
Kyle Shanahan was also getting... ridiculed by changing his game plan a little bit, tweaking it a little bit in the second half, on how he put a lot of the work on McCaffrey in the first half.
Yeah.
And then he put a lot of faith in Brock Purdy, and like it's not like Purdy played bad.
No, I think that
was very efficient,
especially in the first half when you have all of those jitters and all those things that people have said about you and all that. Like, he didn't lose them that game.
No,
he didn't.
Purdy is not the reason they lost the game. I think there's losing a couple big pieces on defense is huge.
Greenlaw hurt. Debo got that hamstring injury.
Yeah. Kittle not showing up was huge. I know he got hurt towards the end, but they were looking a lot at the Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, and everyone was wondering, you guys are up by fucking 20-something points. Why are you not handing it off to Devontae Freeman? Mm-hmm. They were throwing nonstop, and then New England came back, had enough time, and it's kind of the same thing where they were up. Why are you not just handing it off to McCaffrey, who was gaining an average of like 6 yards a carry? And they were throwing a lot at the end of the third and the fourth.
You said a couple of weeks ago that if the 49ers lose this, that you would consider blowing it up. Where do you stand now after watching that game?
I think they found their quarterback. I mean, you got a guy in this second year total. I think they found their quarterback. I think I would go against blowing it up. I don't think you blow it up.
Yeah.
That point I made because of how John Lynch is as a GM. Like, he's one of those guys that nothing's good enough. Like winning the NFC isn't good enough. So I saw him doing it, but I don't know. You have a big name like George Kittle, and he doesn't show up in the biggest game of the fucking year.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I definitely think, and I haven't looked at their contract situation. Maybe we could do that here real quick. It's just kind of like, yeah, when you look at where does your money go and all of that, do you consider moving off of a guy, again, I don't know what Kittle's contract is, saying, hey, that we go with a rookie quarterback and try and find the next like Sam Laporta type or whatnot.
It's hard to, I guess, if I was the GM and I was asked the question, do I blow it up? It's hard to say yes. It's hard to lean towards blowing it up because they didn't lose because they went toe-to-toe and got outplayed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that. The game doesn't tell me that they weren't good enough. It's boneheaded shit. Trent Williams is their best offensive lineman. He got called for 3 penalties in a row. Remember that? Mm-hmm. How are you fucking up like that in the Super Bowl? You don't fuck up like that in the Super Bowl. Kittle, you need to show up. Like, we know you can play big. But it's like there's lessons that you could learn, but it doesn't show that they're a bad team. Far from it.
Let's look at their salary cap situation for next year. So they've got Trent Williams at 20, Debo at 20, Armstead at 17, Fred Warner at 15, George Kittle at 13, and their cap hits are even higher. That's just their base salary. So I guess you look at Williams as 31.5, Debo 28.6, Armstead 28.3.
You got to pay Brock Purdy.
Fred
He's
Warner,
like $800,000.
Yeah. You got Javarius Ward at 18, Javon Hargrave at 15, Nick Bosa at 15. McCaffrey is going to be on I think he's going to be on his final year at 14, Ayuk 14, Greenlaw 10. So you've got a lot of guys making a lot of money up there. What's up?
Do you guys have a cat that got out?
No.
No, that's a stray cat that goes around.
Yeah. We were just wondering if anybody's...
What color is it?
It's a little black and white cat.
I think it's their cat, maybe. Yeah, and it wanders.
It comes in here all the time.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
all right.
All good. Peace out.
Fucking asshole.
He wants to be on the pod. Want to be on the pod. Get him on the pod. Gray head of hair.
I couldn't see him.
Yeah.
It's Sunshine from Remember the Titans.
Sunshine. Either way,
back
a lot
to
of money.
Cap talk.
Yeah, cap talk.
No, I was gonna say just about the Super Bowl party. One thing I noticed, Pete, I've been to many a Super Bowl party with you.
Yeah, and I've always been working.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked basically every Super Bowl since, like, remotely.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen you that pumped.
I was pumped.
You were screaming.
It's gambling.
It was gambling, is what it was.
But we've gambled on Super Bowls before.
I think I had all
but
in.
Maybe it was just because you were, not in sports media.
I was present, I think is what it was. Yeah,
But you've also, I would also say that you've never put in money that you've been putting in this season.
Yeah, I've put in
like
a lot more
before.
money this year
Oh,
than
yeah,
I think
you
I've ever had.
witch.
So, came up a couple $100, but I think that could have gone the other way.
Yeah,
It very much could have gone the other way.
I loved it. I thought it was funny.
You like it? Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I was going to talk about that. I had a blast not working in sports.
Good.
I got my.
It was a good time.
I got my food prepared early. I was ready for everyone when y'all showed up.
Yeah, it was a great party.
I was very excited to
New TV.
New TV.
We want to bet again.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at us go. We did not win our $3,400 bet.
Damn.
We got who did we
two
get
out of
in
four,
there?
right?
Valdez Scantling.
We got the very first parlay that we made. It was a 129.5 combined for McCaffrey. It was a 19.5 yards for
Valdez Scantling.
Yeah.
Which
he had like a 16-yard catch
and then
lost yards.
Right, because that was the one where he gained 6 and then came back around and ended up losing 4, and we're like, no.
But immediately after he gained 8
us.
and he had 20, and then we had Pacheco over 87 rushing and receiving, and then we had McCaffrey touchdown.
Yeah. I did feel good about like a Juszczyk touchdown. I was really thinking that Juszczyk was going to
I felt good about that too.
Like that part where you're just going like right there on the goal line, or McCaffrey busts out for 74 yards and then you need him to, blow wind on the sidelines.
Our Juszczyk touchdown was replaced by Juwan Jennings. It was the non-star touchdown.
Jennings showed out. Yeah,
honestly,
if
the Niners would have won, Juwan Jennings
Could've
would
been
have
MVP.
and should have won MVP.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Do you get a bump for that? You get a bonus for MVP?
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
You got to.
You get to go to Disneyland, I think.
You do. You do.
We just
Patrick Mahomes' hungover ass.
We just learned the hard way that for 11 weeks we were placing bets but not getting together.
Yeah,
and then championship and Super Bowl, we were together and we won both times.
And we won both times. And we celebrated, maybe not as much as Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce absolutely having the time of his life as the brother of Travis Kelce. And let's see. I want to play this one next. But the first one, he's wearing his Ray Mysterio outfit or a mask with his Chiefs overalls. He is just jumping up and down
with Marshmallow,
loving life with Marshmallow. Just amazing. I love this pan over as well. Hold on, I think I have it on all right, chill out now. I have it in my text message here. I'm pretty sure.
Is he retired?
Not
he
officially.
hasn't even made an announcement, right?
Yeah, no, not officially. But like in this,
this would be him retired, just having a fucking blast.
Yeah.
In this, do you think that he is retired or just a supportive brother? When you read that, type of a guy,
supportive brother,
but
it's giving me a look into the future if he was retired.
Here is a pan over of Taylor Swift making out with Travis Kelce, and then they pan over to Jason Kelce.
Clapping off beat.
That's my brother's girlfriend.
Oh my gosh. What's funny is that there's this guy right here in the background who could who's just like all of a sudden Taylor Swift's biggest fan. He's like, baby, just say yes.
He was making the pizza.
He was,
he was making the pizza.
And then the final clip of the night is not that one. One moment, please.
Uno momento, por favor.
Final clip of the night was this first one that I had up, which was Jason Kelce just stumbling and bumbling, just about to fall into a bunch of bushes. That's the wrong one, but there he was, just almost falling into bushes on his walk.
He's
as
like,
basically the bodyguard of these two.
He's like, I should have taken off the mask.
Milk was a bad choice.
So Jason
Having
Kelce,
the time of his life, man.
I'm looking forward to listening to their next podcast and seeing how he relives it.
I love this as well. Post game, Marshawn Lynch, Oakland native, also former Oakland Raider, is walking around with a microphone asking fans if they are 49ers fans, and this is how that went.
49er fans? Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you, you little ugly motherfucker.
Ugly motherfucker.
You a Niner fan?
Yes, sir.
Fuck you. Are you a 49er fan?
Yes, I am.
Fuck you.
Hey, Marshawn. Let's go.
Are you a 49er fan?
Absolutely.
Fuck you.
I'm kidding. We want this shit.
Are you a 49er fan? Fuck you.
The whole bit. It's the whole bit.
Great bit.
I think it's a good bit. It's a good bit. Anything else Super Bowl that you guys want to touch on before we have to go dormant into the NFL for a little while? I guess we'll always be talking about the NFL, but here comes the NBA, boys, and soon to be March Madness.
I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah, because our podcast isn't a football podcast.
I know.
Be
I'm
prepared
just
for
saying,
basketball.
I'm saying that I just haven't mentally, it's hard for me to realize that
you hadn't considered life without football, huh?
Yeah, it's it's over. I just thought, I was so focused on the Super Bowl and the pomp and circumstance. I wasn't really thinking of
Was there a point that you enjoyed the football season? Because remember in the beginning, you're like, I don't feel the same excitement of football season yet. Did you get to the point where you did?
I think,
and then now it's over.
I think I understand. Okay, you answer, and I think I understand why you may have felt that way.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I do admit that this season did feel a little bit different than other seasons that I've been super, super pumped for. I think a big part of that was I didn't really gamble a lot this season. And yeah, I don't know, but I did get to a point where I was really enjoying it and having fun. But I think I said last week, this was also a Super Bowl that I had, less interest in.
Not a lot of storylines.
Yeah, as far as the matchup, I don't have, not that I don't, like these teams and respect them. It's just nothing that I could really connect with personally. So I don't know, but it is sad to think that it's over. I am looking forward to next season and something new. More than anything, though, I'm really looking forward to college football.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, though?
I was curious how much your wedding and just all of that had to maybe play into it, because the football season starts right around when you're on the very edge of getting married. You have all this planning. All your brain is distracted. It was there's no warm up kind of there, where your mental energy doesn't have time for
I'm sure
hobbies.
That
I guess
played a part in it. But no, I'm gonna
not
miss
blaming wedding and marriage on your personal enjoyment or anything. It's just split attentions.
Don't be what's the phrase? Don't be sad it's gone. Be happy that it happened.
Exactly.
But I tell you what, I'm looking forward to getting into the NBA. I'm really looking forward to getting into some college football, or excuse me, basketball.
Yes. Yes.
Because March Madness, right when I get back from Italy, March Madness is starting like the day after.
Very exciting.
So pretty pumped about that.
Yeah.
I would join the sentiment of a less exciting NFL season, mainly because of one thing. I think we were robbed of some matchups because of all the fucking injuries.
Yeah, for sure.
We didn't see a Joe Burrow. We didn't see a Nick Chubb. We didn't see a lot of guys that would have been battling in the playoffs that were like first option guys.
Yeah,
like what would have happened if the Bengals were in it? What would have happened if, the Browns with Deshaun Watson, with Nick Chubb? You know what I mean? Like, we lost a ton of quarterbacks to freak fucking injuries
Kirk
right
Cousins
in the beginning.
Was out, all
Justin
season
Jefferson,
long. Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
That's the only part that sucked.
It was. And I think that we saw over 50 quarterbacks play this year?
Something
I think that's
like
right.
That. It was crazy.
Pretty wild. So, yeah, I don't think that we saw some of these things of the Josh Dobbses and the Tommy DeVitos and however short-lived those
Gardner
were.
Minshew.
Yeah. Again, Anthony Richardson was out for the majority of the year.
Oh, one other thing I wanted
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
What could have happened with the Jets?
Can't forget about him.
He never went away. But
one thing I wanted to bring up is, because we've talked about this a lot, the comeback player of the year.
That's right, yes.
And Mr. Flacco. Nobody saw that coming.
That
he was
son
like
of a
plus
gun.
1,200 or something.
That was decided as soon as the Bills ran the fucking fake punt.
Yeah.
As soon as DeMar Hamlin ran the fake punt,
that's true.
the fucking NFL honors guys was like, he's not getting
can't
it.
do
He's
shit.
not getting. If he didn't step on the field, it was his award. But they put him in there, ran the stupid ass
Joe
fake
Flacco
punt.
also threw two pick sixes
That's true, but
in his playoff game. So
he willed them to that
like if
point of the
if
season.
we take into account, if we factor everything in with Joe Flacco's like not so great last game and DeMar Hamlin running the fake punt, technically it could have gone to Baker.
Right.
It could have gone to Baker.
That's true. Yeah, at that point, we've seen it in very. It's like just don't do anything to lose it, and maybe DeMar Hamlin found a way.
Oh,
to,
speaking of awards, that's another thing that adds to the whole 2020-2024. Lamar Jackson won MVP.
Oh, that's right.
That year.
Yeah, very true.
I'm pretty sure the Browns or players on the Browns or coaches of the Browns won 5 NFL honor awards. Because Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, Joe Flacco, Comeback Player of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Then another one of their coaches won an
Coordinator
award,
or something.
Coordinator of the Year. So Browns had a big year. I
agree with every Browns award except one.
Myles Garrett.
I think TJ Watt.
Yeah.
I think TJ Watt
A
was
lot of people are saying
miles ahead of Garrett and Parsons when it comes to stats, and they are saying the reason Myles Garrett won it is because if they look at the stats, they can't base it off of that because Myles Garrett was double teamed every game. But I'm like, so was TJ Watt, and he was ahead by a lot.
And I think also the thing that I personally would look at that would give Myles the edge is the effect and the weight that he carried on that defense. Because arguably the best defense in the NFL this year was the Browns, and he was the cornerstone of it. That defense did not run without him, making it chug. So, and I think, the Steelers defense obviously depends on TJ Watt a lot, but I don't think they were as prominent as a group with him playing as the Browns were with Myles Garrett.
Well, over the next few months, we will be talking about
soccer.
Yeah, where good old Caleb Williams might end up. There's rumblings about whether or not Washington is trying to come in and
this
trade
is going to
up
be a
number
fun
one.
draft.
It will be. Ducks have 7 guys who are invited to the Combine. Michigan Wolverines set a record. 18 guys are going to the Combine this year for Michigan. So,
my prediction is over these next, month and a half, maybe? Month?
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's in April. My bad.
It's end of April.
So 2 months, I think we are going to see Bo Nix
skyrocket,
climb up the draft board into,
Who do you think, as far as guys in the draft, would make an immediate impact in the game right away?
I think non-quarterbacks. I think it's kind of...
Yeah, it'd be a non-quarter. It's tough for a quarterback. You have to land in the right situation and all that. But, like, skill players...
To make an effect or to start?
I mean,
who have the
you have to be a starter to make an immediate.
Yeah. But like for instance, Caleb Williams gets drafted to the Bears. Let's say if he goes to the Bears and does shitty, does he have an effect? Is that what we're saying?
No, I guess you can count quarterbacks out of it just because there's so much. There's so many more factors in the quarterback. You have to land in the right situation. You can have decent stats, but if you're not winning, whatever, you're mostly thinking about like who could be like a Pacheco or a Justin Jefferson.
I think Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I mean Marvin, the upper echelon of wide receivers this year is really fun.
I think more than Marvin Harrison. As much as I am a fan of his, I think Odunze. I think Odunze is gonna be a wide receiver one, like right away.
The Chargers could use one of these 3 guys: Malik Neighbors, Odunze, or Harrison. Right now, Malik Neighbors is projected to the Chargers with the 5th pick.
The Chargers have a second-year wide receiver though that I think is going to blow up this season, next season. It's that Quentin Johnson guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he's going to.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good. I really do think, especially because tell me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the projections say have Bo Nix going to the Patriots, and I feel like he could go into that organization because that's a pretty solid organization, pretty solid coach.
Yeah, in this one you have Jaden Daniels with the number 3 pick, but if you're talking about maybe something a little bit later on, possibly, I think this is just
that's also going to a team that like. They're not in a position to win right now. Like they're about as in shambles as the bottom, like the Panthers or who does the Patriots have?
But I think they have the ability to get to a better place faster than a lot of these other teams.
That's the Patriots we know of the past. That's with Bill Belichick in them. This is a completely different organization.
I feel like with their new coach, they could still do it, but I could be totally wrong.
This is just a gut reaction right now, and we'll maybe try and pin this for future times. If this goes true right now, Caleb Williams 1 to the Bears, Drake May 2 to the Commanders, Jaden Daniels 3 to the Patriots. Which of those 3 is most set up to succeed in year 1? Should each of them start?
I would probably say Drake May.
I'd say Drake May.
And I would agree. I mean, you hire Cliff Kingsbury as your offensive coordinator. Hopefully he can help there. You've got a new new ownership, which, you're invigorated there.
Bob Myers.
Yeah,
right?
I mean.
And you have more you have more weapons for Drake May. I mean, Jaden Daniels, as great, as dynamic as he is, who does he have?
Yeah,
in the
who can he
Patriots?
throw to?
You get Caleb Williams. If you don't have anyone for him to throw to, there's nothing. If you take the current Commanders team, he has McLaurin, he has Dobson, he has
Antonio
Gibson. Yeah, that's in the backfield, but still.
He has more weapons.
Robinson, if we said that. Yeah, for sure. For sure. But yeah, I really like this upper echelon wide receiver class. Obviously, like any team that takes like an offensive tackle or an edge rusher, in the top 10, you're always happy to be in that situation.
What's the name of the guy the Washington Commanders just picked up as head coach? He was the defensive coordinator at Dallas. Dan Quinn.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know if they wanted Dan Quinn initially, but that's who
they
got.
I think them getting Cliff Kingsbury is huge.
Not a bad hire there.
Yeah.
Not a bad hire there.
But it makes it more likely that with the disinterest that Caleb Williams has shown about Chicago, that Chicago takes like a Marvin Harrison, sticks with Fields, and Kingsbury, with his relationship with Caleb Smith, goes to the Commanders.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, they would have to figure out some kind of trade, which the Bears might do if they can, get the number 4, number 5 pick and, trade away their first, do like a 3-way trade and get 2 picks, maybe a first rounder next year.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Draft Day?
I haven't, and it's about the Browns.
It's about the Browns.
It was about the Browns with Kevin Costner.
I've seen snippets
The
of
whole
it.
premise of Draft Day fits this up-and-coming draft so much.
Right.
It was about a quarterback out of Wisconsin named Bo Callahan.
Yep, hot
and it
shot.
was like everyone is digging in like, is Bo Callahan a winner? Is he somebody that people want to be around? And it's very much like a Caleb Williams story.
For sure.
Where then they were shopping like, okay, I'll give up my picks and you can have them. It seems like the fucking movie.
I need to watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
We'll watch it. Let's do it together. Let's have a little date night. We
Movie?
can cuddle. Yeah,
Movie
a
night?
movie night. I think that if the Browns know what's good for them, they trade that pick. And they trade it for just a freaking onslaught
Bears, you
again.
mean?
Did I say?
You say the Browns.
Oh, my bad. The Bears. The Bears should trade that pick, and they should just have like stock the whole cupboard. And if you're still thinking that Justin Fields could possibly be your guy, or you know what, in a year from now you go and you get yourself a veteran quarterback that could sign potentially in free agency.
Because here's
That
the
type of
thing,
thing.
and I totally agree with you. You can trade this pick for a later first-round pick in this draft to get another weapon for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
You can get another first-round pick next year for this year's first, number 1 pick. So you get a weapon this year for Justin Fields, which gives him another year where you can kind of say, hey, no excuses. You have, what's his name that they got from fucking Carolina? The receiver.
Oh,
DJ Moore.
Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore.
Or he wasn't from Carolina, was
Yeah,
he?
he was.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was part of that.
Yeah.
The
Bryce Young.
Yeah, the Bryce Young deal.
So you have DJ Moore, you have Marvin Harrison Jr. or Dunze or whatever, and you basically say, okay, Justin Fields, this is your season. We've given you the weapons. Do or die.
Could you imagine, too, if the Cardinals are the team that calls you and you trade that from 4 to 1, you get all those extra picks, and then you can still take Marvin Harrison?
Yes.
That's incredible. Like, imagine the type of situation you would be in if the Cardinals are like, we want to come up and take Caleb Williams or Drake May or whomever that would be.
I think
agree
they would
with-
have to be a three-way trade.
I agree with you though, because I think Fields should be given another chance. I think he's good enough to be given another chance.
And my point is that if he doesn't do it, you realize halfway through the season you're 8 to 10 games in, and it's you guys are 2-6 or whatever. And Fields isn't the guy.
Tank again.
You can tank again.
Yeah.
You can pick up a veteran guy to finish out your season, whatever. And you have that first round pick that you had picked up by trading this year's to get another young quarterback next year.
There's so many good skill players coming out, especially in the receiver position, that even if they don't get a Marvin Harrison, they could get Coleman from Florida State. They can get Neighbors from LSU. They can get Odunze from Washington. And if let's say they pick, I don't know which team it is, but there's a team with 2 picks in the first round. You can use that and get one of those top receivers and then get Blake Corum from Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
no
the
joke.
Bears are the team with two picks in the first
But
round.
but I mean the Bears at this point are kind of like the Thunder of the NBA, right? Where they just like have a stockpile of picks and they can just wheel and deal however they want.
Yeah.
They're in a great position, and then eventually they'll be at that point where they can strike, they'll be good, and they still have all those picks.
And the thing is they're not in a win now position
No,
anyways.
not at all. They don't need to. Yeah. So
take your time with Fields. Give him weapons.
Let Eberflus drive you into a mountain.
Yeah. Fire your head coach again. And then next year, you've got a new coach. You're ready to get a new quarterback.
Yeah.
You have Marvin Harrison Jr. or Dunze. You've got DJ Moore.
You've got
a Blake Corum. And you've got 2 more first-round picks.
Yeah.
It would be really funny if they pass on Caleb Williams, but draft a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. It's like, we're just shitting on Justin Fields. Like right in front of you. Like, let's just get what we think is a better version of you.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I think we all know, and I know I've said this, is even if they do get Caleb Williams, they're going to run him into the ground.
Yeah, they don't
just
want
like they did with Fields. The Bears organization cannot produce good young quarterbacks.
Yeah, they need a quarterback. They need an
all.
established quarterback that cannot be fucked with. Yeah. That cannot be ruined.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is right now. I don't know who
they needed
going
Kirk
to be.
Cousins 2 years ago.
Right, yeah. And I know that Kirk Cousins is going to be a free agent this year. So, I mean, it's kind of awkward timing for them. I mean, who knows? Like Kirk Cousins going from the Vikings to the Bears would have been kind of funny. I don't see that happening. But, I mean, I did talk about the thunder of the NBA comparison. We should talk a little bit about the NBA. We have super beef back again with Draymond Green and Jusuf Nurkic. They played again a few days ago. That was hilarious.
I watched that game.
Why doesn't he like him? What? Like, I understand what happened the first time when he elbowed him in the face.
Yeah.
No, he punched him.
Oh, right. Yeah, he punched him in the face.
Right hook, dude.
Oh, okay.
It was a right hook.
I know. I remember that happening. But why does he now not like him?
Are you talking about Draymond?
Yeah.
If you watch the game,
I'll get you some highlights here.
There was some leftover feelings from Nurkic. So he was trying to be physical with Draymond. Here's the thing. Draymond's antics are just insane. I am not siding with him at all when I say this. But Nurkic was like, you punched me last time. I'm going to try to be physical with you.
Yeah.
But on top of that, try to outplay you. Nurkic isn't talented enough to outplay Draymond. Draymond is a better basketball player than him. So it was like, all the comments were like, dude, Draymond is cooking you right now. Like, you're not dominating him as much as you want.
I'll give you a little 20-second replay of all the things that had happened. The first one that you'll see is a bit of they got tangled up, and then Nurk tried to front on Draymond, and I think he was trying to,
bully him,
goad him a little bit.
Doing too much.
Control, wing stop. Well, Draymond Green, Jusuf Nurkic, they have a history. Green got suspended because of the hit he put on Nurkic back in December. And right from the start, they've been going at each other. Good, tough physical battle, although Green did pick up a technical here in the third quarter. But these two tough big men in a bit of a slugfest right now.
Slaps, calls him little.
Taking little shots at each other as well, DB.
Mike, when you visited with Dr. Naismith, do you think he liked this level of showmanship?
Draymond did it right back to him.
He was aware.
So those were some of the things that happened in this game, the first game back that they've played against each other.
I think it's funny when big men do the too small thing to each other. It's like, you guys are both fucking huge.
You guys are massive people.
But the funny thing about that whole sequence is Nurkic tried, but Draymond outplayed him in this game.
Oh, yeah, and I mean,
he outplayed him.
Nurk scores 6 points, and 2 of which are on a little baby hook or whatnot, which Draymond points out in his podcast. So Draymond goes on his podcast. I'm not going to show you the full 4-minute, 5-minute rant here. I'll give you the final 30 seconds because he ended up talking for the longest time. He was just rambling about how Nurk is like 120 pounds more heavier than Steph Curry and all this other stuff. It didn't make a lot of sense. But here is the final 30 seconds of Draymond Green.
And yeah, that's what happened. I must say, not very surprised that he went to the media and said what he said, because that's the same guy that laid out on the floor when I made contact. Bro, you 300 pounds. Get up off the floor, bro. If he actually didn't lay out on the floor like that, I actually don't get the suspension that I got, probably. But dude laid out like he was dead. That same guy then goes and say he doesn't deserve another chance. How, bro? What an embarrassment. And they expect to win with that guy.
So Nurk, after that game, basically kind of walked back stuff and was like, this guy doesn't deserve a chance. And then Draymond, I think he was calling him like little soft boy or soft, something like that. Anyway, so they're just bickering back and forth, those two. But that's what you get. It's just a bunch of words.
Bad boy, just don't stay too long on podcast.
For a therapy session. You're going to be late for your therapy session.
Oh.
Honestly, like, Draymond isn't going anywhere. This is making Nurkic look worse than Draymond. Because he's, I understand, like, someone swings on you, whatever, but now you look kind of like the pussy because you can't let it go. And you're getting outplayed because you're not better than him, basketball-wise.
Right. to a Draymond Green who doesn't have it anymore.
But then you're going to you're going to the media and you're on Twitter and you can't let it go. Just like, dude, you scored 6 points and grabbed 6 boards against them when you are 5 inches taller.
Yeah, 80 pounds heavier.
Draymond had, I think,
and a lot younger.
1 assist short of a triple-double against them.
Yeah.
And he was guarding him. Like, you're not Jokic. You will never be Jokic, and you're not that good.
Well, neither of those guys will be in this week's All-Star game, this weekend's All-Star game. We are back to West versus East, boys. We have Giannis, Joel Embiid, who is going to be replaced because he is injured. Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton from the Pacers, and Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard finally had to just switch conferences to be able to be an all-star starter. There's never been one before.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're not in the same league, same conference as Steph Curry.
Yeah, when you're on basically a bit of a super team as well. It is interesting, too, that voting was significantly down, especially in the fan vote this year. So while Dame was voted as a starter, he had like 1 million fewer votes than he did when he was in the West. So it's kind of weird that it's like he's a starter here, but he has 1 million votes less than before. Either way, congrats to Dame. He gets to be a starter. He will be facing off against LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I saw that the Bucks had to pick up Pat Bev to play some defense on that team.
About that they're going to have those guys on the court at the same time after that whole beef that they've had. So that was not lost on me when that trade went down.
That'll be fun to see.
They have gone back and forth for over a decade.
Yeah.
It kind of came to a head again last year where they were threatening to fight each other and, a lot of words here and there. But
no one fits the athlete that would be tied with Barstool than Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
He's absolutely that person.
Pat Bev's got a good voice too for
like
a
guy that doesn't shut the fuck up. He fits the Barstool narrative.
Chippiness. He loves the drama.
He is absolutely that guy.
West or East for you, Juan Miguel?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan of the format.
Yeah.
Because this was back in the Iverson, Jason Kidd days.
For sure.
I just don't think it has the same effect as...
No.
If you're going for ratings and viewership, what they did 3 years ago with the captains...
Right, with the captains.
And the quarters of, like, play to 21, and it's all for charity, and then
play to a point total.
And then play to a point total, they were going a lot harder.
Yeah,
I don't know if guys have the same connection to the conference they're in and how hard they're gonna go. This might go back to the Showtime, like, let everyone dunk, like, let's just get it up to 180 points each and just let everyone do alley-oops and all that shit.
Yeah, I know that they obviously have been trying to incentivize guys, maybe in not just the game but in the contest as well. But yeah, the game is, I remember last year was like it was so belabored. I think it was last year where it just took them for freaking ever to introduce these guys.
Yeah.
And then finally, they had to get this warm-up period, and then finally the game starts like an hour after like it's supposed to. So it's just kind of like, get on with it. Like, we know who these guys are. We don't need these grand entrances. Let's play the damn game.
I also feel like now that the whole control of the load management, where you have to play a certain number of games to qualify for any individual awards, I feel like the All-Star weekend is now a crutch, because you've seen somebody like Anthony Davis not take off any games, even though he's been hurt, because of the care that he has for those awards. But you don't get penalized for this. So this could be the weekend where you're like, you know what, I'll rest up. Like, I don't need to play for this shit. So it's good for the regular season, but it might take away from the All-Star game because
I feel
of that.
I definitely feel that. Is this year, are they doing it this year where they're going to have like an LED screen as like the court?
Yeah,
I think so.
Is that going to be that this year? That could be kind of fun.
Yeah,
we'll see.
They
do it.
Or
I'm curious about.
Distracting.
I think the best. I don't think the All-Star game on Sunday isn't what I'm looking forward to. The dunk contest kind of lost its appeal because I don't know who's going to be in it. But the 3-point competition with Sabrina, Ionescu, and Steph is probably the main event of the entire weekend.
Yeah, so that will take place after the regular 3-point contest. So there's still going to be that, which has a good number of guys in it.
Dame's in it too.
Dame's in it. He's the favorite, slight favorite over Malik Beasley. Tyrese Halliburton is in the 3-point contest. So is Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Trae Young, Lauri Markkanen, and Donovan Mitchell. So that's a good lineup for your 3-point contest. And then, like you said, you have the Sabrina Ionescu versus Steph Curry format. Let me bring that up because there is kind of a unique format. A lot of the things that they are able to do within it is incentivized for their respective charities. So it will follow, like I said, the 3-point contest. They'll have 4 ball racks with 4 game balls and 1 money ball. The 5th rack with a special all money ball rack. Steph and Sabrina can decide the spot for this rack. Then they have these 2 range shots, which should be interesting. And then you have game balls being 1, money balls being 2, the range ball being 3. And then Steph will shoot from the NBA line, and Sabrina will have the WNBA line on there.
Where's the equality?
But then, let's see, you have in the dunk contest, not huge, but you do have Mac McClung back in there. He will go up against, where are they? Jacob Toppin from the Knicks.
G League.
Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, and Jamie Jaquez Jr.
Lame. That is a lame dunk contest lineup.
Mac McClung being your presumptive favorite at minus 225. 74% of the money is on McClung to repeat as a champion.
The pride in the NBA has been lost. You know, if you're an NBA player back in the day, if the league is considering non-NBA players to be in the dunk contest, wouldn't you take that personal a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to the dunk contest because I mean, I'm sure we all have rewatched the Vince Carter, the Michael Jordans, all of them, even the Dwight Howard, Nate Robinson years, Blake Griffin,
Zach LaVine, and Aaron Gordon is probably the last
good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just like the inability to practice these types of things, the lack of incentive, the possibility that are you more susceptible to injury? Like, when did it lose that appeal?
I think we have. I mean, this could just be my take, but I think we have softer boys in the league.
Maybe,
I think the perception of embarrassing yourself by not being creative enough is in the back of their minds. This is a world where, you know, you go on Twitter right after the dunk contest and read everyone judging you, and some of them might not be able to handle that.
People cared about the in-season tournament, right?
The dunk contest is completely different. That's completely on your shoulder. There's a reason why one of the I would say the guys that care about their image the most has never been in it is LeBron James. LeBron, people have been begging him to be in the dunk contest in the NBA, and he's never even entertained it because he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that care about what people think.
But, like, does your image matter or not if, like, the potential of another $500,000, $250,000, $500,000 is on the line to incentivize these guys? $250,000, $500,000 is nothing when it comes to just getting a sponsor to pay that money.
For the smaller guys, yeah, but, you know, I feel like for somebody like LeBron,
I mean, even Anthony Davis was like, and maybe it was tongue-in-cheek, he was like, I can afford Christmas presents this year with that $500,000 as if you didn't have millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think the difference between playing in a game and a dunk contest is, first of all, not everyone gets considered for the dunk contest. There's a certain look or certain way that you play where you get considered for that event. And in that smaller selection of guys, then you leave it up to asking them and seeing if they would entertain it or accept the invitation.
Do you think that Aaron Gordon losing it a few years ago when, who was he going up against?
Zach LaVine?
Yeah, against Zach. Like, when it was like, hey, Aaron Gordon very much had the right to claim victory there.
Yeah. He said it. He said it himself. He said it. He's lost interest in the dunk contest because he feels like he was robbed 2 years ago.
Right. So, like, I mean, can that trickle down to bigger players as well?
Possibly.
But, I mean, like, you know, if a LeBron James is in there, like, I mean, you're obviously going to get the benefit of the doubt a ton, right? I mean, even Tiger Woods, who's going to be playing in the Genesis Cup or whatever the hell this weekend, hasn't played well in anything or whatever, and he's still like plus 1,200 to make the top 10. You're always going to be given the benefit of the doubt if you're that guy.
I think the winning the dunk contest does not outweigh letting people down in some players' eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not about winning or losing the event. It's about letting people down by not meeting their expectation of what you could do and how creative you could be. The thing is, we've been spoiled. We used to look at the Dominique Wilkins human highlight reel where he does a double pump reverse slam or a Michael Jordan like tomahawk jam. Those are fucking normal in-game dunks now. We have seen the fucking non-NBA player do a no-look dunk, a behind-the-back dunk, double between the legs, like, what else is out there?
Yeah, I mean,
like, what else could you do?
You talk about, and I think that, too, you talk about, like, an in-season tournament. The All-Star break is an in-season vacation. I mean, that's what it is. And I mean, look no further than just, like, all of the, like, sponsorship stuff that comes along with the All-Star weekend. These guys are so many different events and so many different sponsorship things. Like, when I was in the end, like, covering the Blazers, I traveled to literally every single game, home and away, for the Blazers. I never went to an All-Star game because your access sucked and the whole thing was just a big old sponsorship thing. So you were never going to be able to, like, talk with your guys or do a behind the scenes or whatever because that was always covered by their sponsors. You had no access. So, I mean, it's just like, if you're not, like, you're there to rest, you're there to rehab, and then you're also there to just, like, show face to the people who pay you millions of dollars and go to a party. I mean, Dame got engaged one year and then threw an engagement party at All-Star Weekend. Yeah. How insane is that?
Got all of his buddies there.
And now he's divorced. Yeah. So
and honestly, it's like, why not, like, call up that Jordan Kilganon guy and have some of these, like, specialty dunkers? Like, that's what they do. Go up against a Mac McClung.
Right.
And some of these younger guys.
Yeah, we've talked about the professor and all those other guys.
Or have him be a part of the skills competition.
Yeah, something like that.
But that's why I think
entertain us.
I think the league refused to go to that level of entertaining non-NBA players. I think they're going as far as, like, G League, like a Mac McClung. That's why they created that dunk contest, that its own show. Remember with, like, Kenny Smith and Charles and Dr. J were the judges, and that Jordan guy was in it.
Yeah,
those were the guys that they would normally consider to bring in. But it's like, it's like the league didn't want to go that route because they didn't want to cross their players or anything.
Butthurt if they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you start introducing those guys and you lose to them, there's no way that you'd want to be a part of that. But I am interested to see how things transpire. I think that, like, I will give it a very short leash. I will tune in. But the moment that I, like, kind of just immediately try and mess with my, my phone or...
Well, you're going to do that anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Or just, like, come out here and clean the garage or something like that, which needs it. It's better than it was, but who knew? The final thing before we get out of here, and I know that there's, like, not a huge national interest in this, but for our Pacific Northwest audience and Oregon Duck audience, I thought it was super interesting to see Chip Kelly go from UCLA as your head coach, just go, I don't want to do that anymore, even though you're going to the Big Ten, to being like, I will be the offensive coordinator of Ohio State instead, knowing that maybe the writing is on the wall at UCLA that you're going to get your ass handed to you, shown the door here anyways.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I wanted to get your take on that.
Price is high.
Yeah.
UCLA is pretty excited about their new head coach, though.
Yeah.
They are. Former player.
Yeah.
Running back.
They, like, fucking rushed him when he was announced.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, you've got...
And I think it's good for Chip. He has a chance to win national championships.
And I think that he had aspirations to get back into the NFL as maybe a coordinator. Yeah. And maybe this is that, like, again, you talk about your stock being high. If you're a disgraced, fired head coach, where's your chance versus, like, hey, I'm an offensive coordinator of a top whatever 5 team that was in... college football playoff that possibly could win a championship. So your stock gets way higher.
I think Chip's run as a head coach is over. I think he had his run at Oregon, and he had created an offense that nobody knew about. Everyone caught up. I think he makes a great coordinator. He makes a great assistant. I think he'd thrive in that position where he's not in charge.
Even at Ohio State? Yeah. Do you think that, like, his offense at this point is... that he can have a complex enough offense that won't just be read through like a freaking book?
He did it before at Oregon. He could create...
That was before.
He could create something else with less pressure as a head coach.
Yeah, I think he's also getting a lot older, and I think that he doesn't want the pressure and the burden that comes along with being a head coach.
Yeah, the media responsibilities probably as well.
And I think that he can go to an organization like Ohio State that's established, and he can do, and not all the pressure will be on him. It'll be on Ryan Smith. It'll be
Ryan
on
Day.
Ryan Day. Yeah. Sorry, and also, it's not like Ohio State has had like these super incredibly complex offenses. They rely a lot on their talent, and they're able to recruit talent in. Whereas, at Oregon, at least when he was there, they weren't necessarily the best recruiting school. They worked with the smaller guys that were faster, and he made something that worked for them.
Yeah, and in Southern California, you're working against the Trojans as well.
Exactly. And I think at Ohio State, you're going to get such big, talented, athletic recruits that you can have not necessarily simple, but simpler offensive scheme or strategy and still have a lot of success just because you have such talent to take action and do it.
And if Ryan Day fucks up majorly, which possibly, I mean, it does
which
seem
he
like,
will.
Which it seems like the leash that he has, especially after losing to Michigan as many times as he has. Maybe Chip finds his way into an interim role there for a little bit.
Who knows?
Of Ohio State, we're rocking a visor.
There's a lot of other coaches they'll entertain before he steps
You think
in.
so, even on that staff? I mean, like, to have an offensive
he could be an interim to finish out the season.
That's
I
what
don't think they'd hire him.
I wouldn't think they would hire him. But that would be kind of...
Yeah.
That'd be kind of silly to say.
I'm happy for him. It's one of those things where it's like, do I really care? No. Am I happy for him? Sure.
He is ultimately, outside of maybe a year and a half in Philly, where demonstrated that the grass was not always greener there.
Yeah.
I don't know any Oregon fan that wouldn't be happy for him. He gave you your best years.
Yeah, for sure.
He was the coach in your best years that you will ever see and you will ever see.
Yeah, and it took a while to get out of that with the Helfrich and the Taggart days,
Yeah.
and even the Cristobal days.
And now we get to play him in the Big Ten and hopefully beat him.
That would be he'll be back. Because let's see, Ohio State will be here in September, right? Or is that Michigan State? I can't remember what their schedule is at this point.
I can't remember.
We should still go to Michigan for my birthday.
November 4th? 2nd.
My birthday.
Second.
So, very excited. So football done. Basketball here.
Carolina lost twice this week.
There you go. Always right in the world.
Great.
Way too early pick to win the national championship.
Suck it, Tyler.
You know who I want it to be.
Who do you think it's going to be? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Purdue.
Number 2, 22 and 2.
I watch college basketball from beginning to end, not just in March. This year, like last year, you could look at UConn and like they are fucking dominant. And I know this might get said, but it's not. There's not a more fitting season than right now up to this point where these top dogs do not look like they will be playing in the Final Four. Like Kansas does not look like it, even with that transfer. Duke doesn't look like it right now.
Yeah, and Houston lost recently to Kansas? Who were they playing
Houston
recently?
beat Kansas.
Was it Houston beat Kansas?
Yeah, but A&M beat Kansas, and then Houston lost someone. Carolina, number 3 in the league, lost to Syracuse and Clemson, back to back.
Oh no, the one I was listening to was maybe a week ago. It was Kansas that beat Houston 78-65.
Oh.
Either way, but Purdue is that classic team, and once you get to March where you
stop the 7-footer and then
they're just
over.
out in the round of 32.
But it seems like Edey's got another year under his belt. He's a little bit stronger, a little bit more poised.
Here's the more interesting thing about college basketball. Guys are not in a hurry to leave anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you can make a couple million.
Yeah.
Baycott is still around.
I mean, Baycott's been in North Carolina longer than Bo Nix had played college football.
It's true.
And it's fucking hilarious. Not only, and it's not just funny to me because I don't like North Carolina. It's hilarious when they announce these records. I'm like, well, no shit.
Yeah, the guy's
He's been
there
playing there for fucking 24 years. They're like, Baycott has a rebounding record for Carolina, 4th all-time scoring. I'm like, dude, he looks older than Greg Oden.
Yeah.
Like, he just got 6 kids. Why is he still in the fucking...
Oh, well, I'm excited for March Madness.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sports times of the year.
I know it's not a hot take, but off of what I've seen, very little. UConn still, I just like with their coach and obviously their record and everything like that.
You also, I think it's also
mentality.
hard. It's also hard to judge right now because teams play a little bit different when conference tournament starts.
Yeah.
And then that's when you kind of start to see who's separating themselves. Like, yeah, UConn was dominant last year, and then they really turned it up. But right now, everyone's kind of in an even playing field. But I guarantee you, beginning of March, when Pac-12 tournament starts, when everything else, all ACC, you're going to see people come up. Like a Wake Forest is starting to play well. Arizona, unfortunately, is starting to play well. So you'll see.
There was this Dan Hurley, and maybe I can find it here real quick. If not, it was that in the huddle that he had. Let's see. Huddle. I doubt that I'm going to find it here. Where it was basically like, hey, we've got them locked down. Now let's like stomp on their throats. Is it this one? No, you can't hear that.
That's probably one of the best parts of college basketball is the Hurley brothers.
Yeah.
They're the same as they were when they were players. They're Jersey boys that are fucking just super intense.
Yeah. They are fun to watch.
Yeah. They're the firecrackers.
I know we're off the Super Bowl, but another guy that gets deserves a lot of credit, Spags. Spags won that.
Yeah.
He won that game big time for them.
Yeah.
He won that game big time.
Defense played well.
Can sleep well at night.
Well, remember what Romo said when he was like, one of the worst things you could. It goes so much deeper than just stopping an offense. He's like, one of the worst things you could do right now if you're on defense while the Niners are on offense is to not give the best quarterback in the league the ball back. He was like, you need to send the fucking house right now and get it back.
Yeah.
And hasn't he won like 4 Super Bowls?
Yeah. They dialed up pressure right when they needed to.
Winningest coordinator in NFL history.
Is that right? Believe that.
Hopefully he sticks around.
That.
Well,
he knows where the bodies are.
Goodbye, football. We love you.
Until next time.
March Madness.
Let's go. Clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.